Hello everyone, good day to all of you. I wanted to talk about and give a review today of the Lunar Concepts Contour Sling, which I have right here, which is aptly named for the contour that is in the middle of this pad you can see right there. Very different from your normal sling. I'm going to be talking about how that works and mostly going to be comparing this to the Ferro Concepts Slingster, simply because it's a pretty common sling. It's a pretty good sling. I do overall think the contour sling is better, but I have so many of these. It's a very good comparison. I have a lot of time with them. So they're overall pretty similar slings. The only major difference, there is a few more minor ones as well, but the biggest difference of course is that contour, which is a good point to start. So this contour right here, the reason for it is to help keep the sling a little bit higher up on your shoulder, especially if you are wearing gear. This sling works really well with all sorts of gear on. I've shot it with a plate carrier on a whole bunch, winter gear, and of course just with regular clothes on as well, and it just works that little bit better than a normal straight sling. Now, not that I've ever had too much of an issue with a straight sling slipping off of my shoulder either, but it is just a little minor improvement over just something like this. Second, as you saw on the contour part itself, that is on a padded portion. So comparing that to something like a Slingster, you do have a pad here, however it's not that thick. It's just pretty much a little bit extra fabric there and nothing else. However, if you look at the thickness by comparison to this Lunar Concepts contour sling, you'll see it is quite a bit thicker. Now, this extra thickness, personally I find it doesn't really get in the way. It's not overly thick, but if you are wanting to, for example, stow the sling up on like a Ranger band or something like that, it will stick out a little bit more, of course, and be a little bit more bulky. But still, it is doable. This is quite a bit thicker. It is actually a foam padding in here, so it's nice and comfortable and does work well for heavier setups as well. Now, I did want to go back and also touch on a little bit more on this contour shape. They do make a right-handed version as well as a left-handed version, so if you're shooting off of your non-dominant hand and you're trying to re-sling it, it can get kind of in the way then. The difference between the two is just that they reverse the direction of the contour, because obviously if you were wearing this contour the wrong direction, it would actually kind of it wouldn't sit well. It would be really weird. And now, I myself, I do watch reviews on stuff before I buy it as well. And I did see a review by Kit Badger on this sling where he did mention shooting off the non-dominant hand with this, that it can kind of get wrapped up around you. And it's still doable. It's not too bad either way. But that is something to keep in mind, is if you are doing a lot of switches between your shoulders, that this will kind of get in the way there, then you'd probably be better off with just a regular straight sling in that case. Now, moving forward and talking a little bit about some of the more minor features, this is kind of your modern type of sling where you do have an adjustment pull lever right here. It's just this fabric pull, as you can see, compared to the Slingster, which has a polymer pull, though it is on a metal body. And that is something I don't like. The metal body, it is kind of loud, and also it does kind of wear. A lot of the rifles that I put this on usually get some noticeable wear right around the mag well, and depending on how I'm stowing the sling, sometimes around the handguard as well. And that's not that bad. It's never terrible as far as the wear goes, but it is annoying, and if I can help it, I would prefer to preserve the finish on my rifle, both because it does look better that way, but also it's there for a reason. It does protect the actual metal. But as far as actually adjusting, both this Slingster and the contour sling work the same way, where you pull it that way to loosen it, and you can pull it the opposite direction away from you to tighten the sling up more towards your body. Now, both this sling as well as the Lunar Concepts contour sling, they're both pretty smooth to get adjusted. I do think overall the Lunar Concepts right here is a little bit smoother, a little bit easier to adjust, whether you like that or you like a little bit more attention when you are adjusting it. That's kind of more so personal preference, but this one is very smooth and very easy to go either direction. Now, if you do get one of these contour slings, one of the first things you're going to notice is the main bit of webbing right here. This is just regular 1-inch nylon, extremely long, so you have a ton of room for adjustment. Once you do get it adjusted down to where you want it to go, you'll almost certainly need to cut a little bit off. So very easy to do that. Then you just burn the edge and you're good to go. You can kind of tuck it depending on how long or short you want to run it. You can kind of tuck some into the pad itself, but in my case I just had so much excess that I did just cut it, keep it a bit cleaner and a bit less stuff going on with it. Now, last, I did want to talk about the price comparison of this contour sling compared to the Slingster, as I was mentioning earlier. So these are actually about the same price, with my usual caveat of being right now when I am recording this video, they're pretty much the same price, just a few dollars different. Another caveat, however, on this Contour sling. So the only place I'm aware of that you can get this right now is through Wise Men Company, through their online store. And if you look for this sling on their store, you'll probably run across a lot of limited edition versions. So in the case of this one, this is in Rhodesian brushstroke, which is a cool camo pattern, and actually is the main reason why I originally wanted to get this sling, was because I wanted something in the pattern, but then I ended up kind of falling in love with the sling design overall. The limited edition camos, they're usually going to run a little bit more expensive, but if you just get the regular version, which is usually available in your usual solid colors like Ranger Green, Black, Tan, and then they have, of course, the multicam variants like Tropic, Black, etc. Those are all about $55, $58. There is some slight variance in it, if I do recall, between some of the different patterns, but they're all about that price, and that's pretty much what the Slingster is going for as well from everywhere that I've checked. So overall, given that they are pretty much the same price, for me, I only have this one Contour sling at the moment, just because I needed another sling for a different build, just to have a sling on every rifle. But when I do need more slings eventually, I am going to definitely pick up more of these. These are a remarkably good sling, just with those little bit of differences. As I said, they do make it quite pleasant to use. Now on that same note, I'm not going to go out and replace all of my Slingsters either. I do think that if you already have Slingsters and you're already set up with all your rifles, I don't really think it's worth buying a bunch more slings, unless you want to, then you do you. But the Slingster still works remarkably well, so I'm going to keep these on all of my other rifles that already have them, unless they happen to break or whatever. But overall, I would say if you are looking for a new sling, that this Contour is an excellent choice. Let me know if you have any other questions on this sling or on anything else in the comments below. Always love to hear them, always read them. Other than that, take care. Hope you all have a good one. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative, and I'll see you all in the next one.